What's up guys, how you doing today? Welcome back to this YouTube channel. It's your guy Igor here. Today's video is for those guys of you who are planning to come to Canada and trying to do research on which jobs are the most in demand. A couple of my subscribers requested this video. They were asking how much do you get in Canada, what are the best jobs to get into, and this kind of stuff. How much are CSR making, customer service representative, doctors, engineers, this kind of stuff. So I decided to make this video from a person who actually lives in Canada, works here, knows a lot of other people who immigrated here and had struggling finding another job, and I decided to break it down into 3 parts. So let's do it this way, because there is so many articles online with lots of information that is totally out of scope. It's something that it's not real, you know. The statistics is not real. I'll tell you from my experience what is more real. So there are 3 types of jobs, I would say. The one job that doesn't require any education, the second job it requires some education, and third jobs they need a lot of education, like university degrees and masters and stuff like that. So the easiest and most in demand jobs, I would say it's a customer service representative. But the thing is, customer service representative, it's a job that pays really less money in Canada. For example, if you are in a shop, you're just a salesperson in a store, you'd be in some Best Buy or Walmart, you'd be probably getting a minimum close to $15 per hour. With more experience, you'd get a little bit more. So there, 95% of customer service representatives in those retail are making really less money. Those guys who are making commission, or a little bit better salespeople and getting more money on commission, those guys make more. For example, there are some door-to-door salesmen who are making hundreds of dollars, but there is only 1 out of 100 person who is doing that. Other people don't make anything on this. So customer service representative is most in demand. Second one is labor. For example, when I came to Canada, I got myself a job in a warehouse. That was my temporary job. In a previous video, it will pop up somewhere here. I'll tell you about my first job, and this is where you make a little bit more, because it's a little bit more physically demanding job, and it's still really easy to get into. Would these jobs get you a permanent residence if you come here on a student visa, on work permit? Probably not, because you have to be in a big category, but I'm not going to go through immigration process here. You have to get a skilled job. So these jobs that are in demand are not skilled ones, but if you already got PR, they are easy to get into. Also construction, general labor helper in a construction site, it's also a good job that is easy to get and pays a little bit more, but there is also, you're working with construction tools, hardware, that is a little bit dangerous, you're climbing the roofs, but that's what it demands, that's what you do. Other jobs that are less dangerous but still a little bit embarrassing. For example, for some people who cleaners, they make decent money if you get a contract. For example, there are cleaners who are making $15 an hour, there are cleaners who are getting $17 per hour. Some cleaners have their own companies contracts and they get $150 per house, and sometimes they can get 3 houses done in one day. So those guys are making a lot of money, but it's lots of work and it's difficult work. Now let's get to more qualified jobs. For example, lots of people, you know that construction guys are making a lot, like welder, journeyman, for example, gas fitter, plumber, this kind of like carpenter. Those guys are making decent amount of money in Canada, but at the same time, to get that, you need to get a certification in Canada, alright? So if you don't have permanent residence, you cannot get that certification, at least in Alberta, because I was trying to get myself enrolled into one of these because I was working in that kind of sphere, and good thing I changed my mind, I never did it. But those guys are making closer to $30-35 an hour with their certification. So what happens is, once you're a permanent resident, you can join a company as a laborer. The company can support you for your education to get your journeyman certificate. So basically you're getting a certain certification training in one trade, like an electrician. You go to school for about 2 or 3 months, and the rest of the time you're working with an experienced electrician and you're getting experience. So I think it takes about 3 years in general. Some trades are more, some trades might be less, I'm not sure, but I know that approximately 3-4 years to get the trade certificate, but you have to have permanent residence for that, and it's kind of challenging. You have to get an employer who is going to support you, but the good thing about it, every year you're getting promoted. So for example, as a general labor, you would start somewhere, let's say $17 per hour minimum. It also depends on the province. In Alberta it's closer to $20. After 1 year of your study, you're probably getting $22 per hour. Another year of study, you'll be getting closer to $25 per hour, and then final year, once you graduate, it's closer to $30. Employer has to increase your wage in order for you to grow. So basically you grow in that career and you increase your wage. So it's really easy to get. It's high in demand job. Lots of people, immigrants, get stuck in it because it's so easy to get it, and you get right away so much of money, and you can start your own business because you have a ticket. And for example, to work on any of those buildings behind me, if you are doing any electrical work or any kind of plumbing and that kind of stuff, you need to pull permits for example, for gas lines too. You have to get a city permit from government, and you cannot just go and fix a gas pipe there, because the inspection and insurance company, there is lots of legal processes. So you get a paper from there that pays you a lot of money. An employer can use your ticket to get themselves business. The other jobs in demand, I would say, that are more educated. For example, like an accountant, analyst, this kind of profession. Business professions in Canada are in demand, of course, but there's so much of competition. So don't get yourself discouraged. It's difficult to get one of those jobs. In Ontario, bookkeepers, that's how it starts. You start as a bookkeeper and you have to get a CPA, which is really difficult certification in order for you to be an accountant. So if you look how much CPA is making, yeah, it's a lot of money, but you have to get there, pass lots of exams, get experience in a good company, which is also really difficult to get. So business professionals, some college degrees. In Alberta, lots of business professions don't require any college degrees, and at the same time it is a little bit higher paying than, for example, in Ontario. I would also like to remind you guys, if you are in Canada just for money and you have permanent residence and you don't care how much time you're going to stay here, or you're on a work permit, there is a way to make a lot of money. So the best way is Alberta. When the oil prices are high, there is lots of oil rigs, oil manufacturing here, but you would have to work in like -40, -35 degrees Celsius. It's really cold in north, like Fort McMurray, Fort St. John in northern BC, northern Alberta. Those jobs are paying closer to $80,000. So for example, if you are a journeyman, you'll be closer to $60,000-$70,000 per year. If you are in Fort McMurray working there in camps, general labor, really harsh environment, you can make $80,000, $90,000 just doing general labor that does not need any education. Lots of people do that, but lots of those people are not married. It's really difficult to do it if you have a family. For example, business professionals, analysts, and this kind of guys, generally starting somewhere at $45,000 per annum, and in general getting closer to $60,000 in average. But it's difficult to get there with experience. So as soon as you graduate from college or university, don't expect to get a really good job. Now let's get to the third stage, the most in demand and the most paying jobs. For example, if you're a registered nurse, those nurses are making closer to $80,000 per year, 75, 80,000. Pharmacists are making $35 per hour. So in Canada, if you are an engineer or a medical profession, those jobs are more in demand. I see a higher demand in future for IT professionals in Canada, because IT is always growing, but it is always medicine here, because medicine is free in Canada. Treatment is free. So whatever you're charging the customer, you are usually charging the government, because people don't pay. As a person, I just go to a pharmacy, I have a card, health card, and I just, not to a pharmacy. Pharmacy, you have to pay for medicine. If you go to see a doctor, if you don't have a health card in Canada, they will charge you $150 for a visit sometimes. 100, some people will charge 75, depending on this kind of stuff. And if you go for a surgery, it's like, oh my God, thousands and thousands of dollars. But because you have that health card, basically government is paying for you once you're going to see a physician. And physicians are making, it's lots of studying and difficult to get into, but they're getting closer to $250,000 per year. Lawyers, physicians, and those kind of professions in health sector are the ones that are most paying in Canada, and it's most in demand. So for example, if you're coming to Canada and you're planning to do yourself a medical degree, I suggest you do that. But also there is one trick here too. If you have your education from wherever you are, from Ukraine or for example India or from China and any of those countries, there is still a certification. I heard it, I cannot tell you for sure, but there is a way to get your education approved, passing some tests and other stuff that you can do to get the degree in Canada, to get the license as a doctor. It's difficult. Lots of people do all sorts of jobs. Some people come here and they are doctors in their home country. They do a certification for a nurse, and while they are nursing other people, working with a doctor, they are kind of, recertifying themselves as a doctor. Of course, it takes a lot of time to study for this profession in Canada. For example, if you were to go to study as a doctor in Canada, you'd probably need about $250,000-$300,000 loan from a bank to do that. As an immigrant, government is never going to give you this kind of money. As a permanent resident, possibly, but it's also difficult to get yourself enrolled into that one. So remember this: the highest paying is medicine. The second highest paying, for example, dentists are totally crazy. They're just out of their minds how much money they're making. If I knew how much doctors are making in Canada, I would probably go and become a doctor myself. I just studied for business. I did my master's degree in Ukraine. I already spent 6 years for studying, and I spent 2 years in Canada. I don't want to do that. But if you're just planning to go to a university and you can afford that in Canada, make sure you get a medical degree. It's a lot of money. Or pharmacists, veterinarians, also vets are getting good money too. The animal doctor guys, also engineers. They are okay. Let me tell you this. In Ukraine, if you're a business professional and engineer, it's kind of almost similar professions, right? In Canada, engineers are way ahead of you. Now, the other thing that might make you laugh is if you're working in a bank where you're meeting customers. For example, in Ukraine, it's a really respectable profession. I'm working in a bank, right? In Canada, it's one of the lowest paid jobs for customer service. So it's not that good. But at the same time, you wear a shirt like this once you're working there. So medicine is good. If you have engineering, in IT, construction, those professions are really good. If you can get yourself P engineering in Canada, if you know what it is, I will leave a link under this video just so you can check about P engineering, or just Google how to get P engineering in Canada. Lots of certifications. So if you have an engineering degree from India, for example, or I don't know, China, Ukraine, Russia, somewhere, I don't know which countries to pick, I don't know, European countries, Poland, for example, Czech Republic. If you have an engineer's degree from those countries and they are not recognized in Canada, then you can do that P engineering certification to approve that. So basically, easiest to get job, the bottom of the pyramid, CSR, general labor, construction, accounting. But construction goes higher than accounting, because unless you're a CPA, you're not going to make more money than a journeyman, all right? So construction, accounting, and goes up. Construction guys can have their own businesses. Lots of people, and it's really easy to get into trucking industry. You have to just get a trucking license, but truck driver's license in Canada can cost you up to $3,000 to get it, so it's expensive for a full licensed truck driver with the training and everything, all right? So trucking is really good money. Construction, if you get like your own businesses, but the thing is, you're stuck on this limit. If you want to go higher, you have to be an engineer, for example, in IT, construction, mechanical engineer, civil engineer, something like that. Higher than that, you start to be like, nurses are starting from the higher bottom, and then everything, medicine. That's about how it works, and lawyers. And of course, if you get a good position in a big company and you are a senior manager, VP or something, those guys are getting closer to what doctors are making. I hope this video was helpful, guys. Make sure you hit the like button if you think this information helped you a lot, and subscribe to this channel if you're new. Also, I am driving for Uber, so if you're planning to drive for Uber as your first job, I think it's a really good option. So I'm driving for Uber part-time, even working full-time in a really good job right now. I'll leave the link for subscription bonus up to $1,000. I think it's $300 in Canada right now and something around $400 in Toronto. So that's about the ranges. If you use that link and sign up as an Uber driver, you just need a driver's license and a car. You can start making $20 per hour right now, just off the start with your own car on your own schedule, while you build your life in Canada and you get through your study and tuition and everything, I think it's a good option too. Just check the link right under this video to do that. Also, new to this channel, consider subscribing. I'll leave a bunch of links under this video. Looking forward to read your comments. Now, the more comments you make, the more videos I create. This is how I've been going for past 3 weeks, 5 videos a week, just reading your comments. Guys, thank you so much for contributing to this channel and helping create this content. Without you, I don't think I would be able to make and answer so many questions. So make sure you comment, and I'm looking forward to see you next video. If you already subscribed, have a good one, guys. See you.